Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Rewind That. It's your girl Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Okay guys, today we're going to be going over the latest episode of Snowfall, season 4, episode number 10, called Fight or Flight. Alright, so the episode starts off with a little flashback and we get to see exactly what kind of man Alton was back in the day, okay? And it's the total opposite from who he is now. So we see that he was called up to Franklin's school because Franklin refused to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And Alton was like, that's it? That's what y'all called me up here for? And, he goes on to tell the teachers, and I think maybe one of them was the principal. He tells them that Franklin didn't recite it because he told him not to. And also, Franklin will not be coming back to the school. Then we get back to the present, and Franklin wants to know from his mother where he could find Alton. So Sissy reluctantly tells Franklin that if he goes to the shelter, they could get word to Alton. But before Franklin leaves, she reminds him that, I know that your father caused you pain, but he loves you and he's just trying to protect you. Anyway, guys, before we move on to the next scene, I really want to mention that the snowfall sign that we see in the beginning of the show is almost completely gone, okay? Like, soon enough, it's going to be nothing but shattered pieces. And at this point, for me, it's just a representation of how destructive the crack epidemic was to families and neighborhoods. Anyway, next we see that Skully is back, right? Just like we anticipated. He tells his right hand that he needs to know exactly where Franklin's crew stays at. Like, I don't care if it's his mama's house. I need to know everything, his family, all that. Everybody that was involved in killing his woman. So we see that Skully was not playing, okay? And this definitely made the episode more racy. Next, Reed pages Franklin because Alton is on the radio going off. So Franklin tells Reed that he'll call him back, then turns on the radio to hear his father going on about how the CIA killed Irene Abe. And as we can see here, Alton has reverted back to that Black Panther within, all right, because he is tired of the CIA doing what they've been doing for years, using black folks to push their own agenda, then discarding of them as they see fit, right? So Alton has had enough. What we saw in the flashback was just to let us know that Alton's actions from here on out are not out of his character. So what I do want to know is what you guys think of this, right? I noticed that Franklin didn't seem too angry as he listened to his father on the radio. And, he did seem bothered, but he didn't seem angry. Now, my question is for you guys is what did you make of that, Like for me, I felt like Franklin might have went back to a place from his childhood where he remembered his father being like this. And, maybe a part of Franklin felt proud of his father, like he was when he was younger. But, at this point, exposing the CIA is not good for Franklin, okay? It's not good for his business. So, he has to have like mixed feelings. But anyway, let me know what y'all thought, all right? So we also see that Alton calls out Reed on the radio. He threatens to go public with pictures of him and with his real name because he's just plain sick of it, He lets it be known that they done messed with the wrong black man because he don't play by their rules. He don't respect their rules. Next, Franklin and Leon go to the shelter to try to get in touch with Alton. But Joe, whom Alton left in charge, says to Franklin, if your father wanted you to be in touch with him, then I figure he might have told you himself. So we see that Alton, he got some good people on his side that don't easily give up information. But unfortunately, Franklin tells everyone to leave the shelter and that it won't open back up until his father contacts him. And I was not cool with this move right here, guys, because, there were children in there. Anyway, next, we see that Reed is losing his patience and he wants Franklin to tell him where Alton is. Franklin tells him that when he knows, Reed will know. But this ain't good enough for Reed, so he threatens Franklin and tells him that him and his family will burn for this if Franklin is playing him. Next, Alton and Franklin meet up at Sissy's house. Alton tells Franklin that he wants him to contact Reed so they could meet. Because, Alton wants to kill Reed, right? So he can just put a stop to this whole thing once and for all. So, of course, Franklin doesn't want to give up Reed because he's the plug. Anyway, their conversation gets interrupted by a knock on the door, and it's Skully who says he has a delivery for the Saint family. So Franklin tells his father to take cover while he does the same. Next thing you know, Skully breaks in the back door and he has a shotgun in his hand talking about, Franklin, you here? I just want to talk. Like, really? You want to talk with a whole shotty in your hand? Okay. So Skully sees a chance to take a shot at Franklin, but Alton comes out and shoots him from down the hall. But before Skully flees the scene, he shoots Alton in the arm. So now Franklin is patching his father up and he wants him to go to the hospital, right? But Alton is on a mission, okay? He wants to meet with Teddy and he continues to press Franklin about it. But of course, Franklin just wants him to let it go. So Alton reminds Franklin that somebody just broke into your mother's house looking to kill whoever he could find. He tells Franklin that he can't keep living his life like that. But we already know that Franklin is not trying to hear that, okay, as usual. Instead, he tells Alton that, he should leave and go far away from here. So Alton says, okay, that's how it's got to be. I'll go. Bop, and hits Franklin right over the head, okay? Knocked him out cold. Next thing you know, Sissy is kneeling over Franklin, smacking him in the face, saying, Franklin, wake up, baby, wake up, right? She tells Franklin that Alton called her to let her know that Franklin needs help. So Franklin is panicking at this point because he knows exactly what Alton is about to do. So he pages Reed, and when he calls Franklin back, Reed tells him that he's meeting up with his father. Franklin then pleads with Reed not to do this if he's ever had any respect for their partnership. But Reed says, your father made his bed, but out of respect for you, I will tell you where we're going to meet. So Franklin rushes to the location and Sissy goes with him. So, these next few scenes, guys, is where things really intensify because we get Alton and Reed meeting up with each other and Alton has a gun raised while Reed is pretending that he has no access to a gun, but the gun is in the door, right? Then Franklin pulls up and after Reed says to him that your father sold you guys out and put you all in danger, Franklin raises his gun to his father. Meanwhile, we got Skully at the hospital with his gun raised to Louie, but then Jerome comes in and tells Skully that he's the one that killed his woman. I'm who you want, right? So we just have this whole back and forth, right? The scenes are cutting back and forth, right? And they're all just racy. And I mean, at one point, I thought that Louie was going to get shot. Then I thought Jerome was going to get shot. Then I thought Sissy was going to get shot, because she jumped in front of Alton. But she was able to talk Reed down by telling him that her and Alton will leave the country. And at the hospital, Louie was able to talk Skully down by telling him that the violence is never going to end if you do this, right? It's just going to go on and on and on until there's nobody left. But I wouldn't necessarily say that she talked him down. Maybe she had him thinking a little bit, but Jerome was the one who tackled Skully and took his gun. And even before that, we could see that Skully was getting weaker, from that gunshot wound. Okay, because Alton shot him pretty good. Next, Franklin says goodbye to his parents as they get ready to load a private plane or jet, whatever that was. And it was kind of emotional, especially when Franklin cries and tells his mother that he's going to miss her so much. He loves his mama. Okay, now this scene just still felt so uneasy for me. And with 20 minutes left in the episode, I couldn't help but to wonder what the heck was next, all right? At one point, I thought the plane was even going to blow up, especially when Reed showed up. And to be honest, all of that stuff should have been kept a secret, you know what I'm saying? Where the plane was leaving from and where Alton and Sissy were going, I don't think they should have let Reed know any of that stuff. And, maybe with him being the CIA, he could have found out, but he in trouble right now, so maybe not. Anyway, Reed tells Franklin that he has to leave town and lay low for a little while, but Gustavo will continue to be your point man, he tells him, right? Next, Franklin gets to the hospital and Jerome tells him that Skully showed up, but Louie talked him down. But when Franklin tries to visit Louie, Jerome tells him that she don't want to see anybody right now. And, Franklin was looking like, really? It's me, Unc. You know what I'm saying? She don't want to see me either. I'm not just anybody. But he got to understand that his crew is getting tired, like it's too much drama and the money is not even worth it. One thing I noticed about Franklin and his crew is that we rarely see them living it up, no vacations, no lavish homes, just fighting to live, it seems, right? So it's like, what's the point of it all? You looking over your shoulder for what? Anyway, next, we see Reed's boss give Oso a file of Lucia's whereabouts. So Oso takes a look at the file, and we see pictures of Lucia, and from the information on the sticky note, this might be a picture of Lucia at her work location, right? And she is wearing business attire, but it appears that she's on a lunch break. So I'm not sure what all this is going to mean moving forward, but right now I don't see the sense in bringing her back, but I'm sure the writers will make it work if that's the plan, right? Next, Louie is out of the hospital, and her and Jerome meet Franklin at the club, and they let him know that they're cutting ties with him. Uncle Jerome hands Franklin a bag of money and tells him that he'd like to start off with 10 keys a week. So, of course, Franklin doesn't accept this, and he starts bringing up the idea that Jerome and Louie are going to steal his customers, right? Then he tells them that they ain't going to be able to make it without him, but Louie says, look, I did it before when you was down all those months, I did it without you, and we also locked down Little Rock without you. So Louie and Jerome tell Franklin that there's nothing he can say because their minds are made up. They're tired of doing things his way. They're the ones who settled things with Skully and them cats in Inglewood, and now they want to run things their way. But honestly, I thought that if anything, Jerome would have wanted out completely, you know what I'm saying, and just focus on his stereo business. The last thing I thought of him doing was splitting from Franklin so he could do his own thing in a drug game, But the one person that does seem to want out is Leon. All right, so we get to the next scene where he tells Franklin that he should just give Jerome and Louie what they want and let the chips fall where they may. Leon says if you try to control him, then, it's just going to get worse. Then Franklin says if that's the case, the projects are going to be my main priority. But then Leon tells him that he's not sure if he's with any of it anymore, So instead of being understanding, Franklin throws in Leon's face how much he had his back with the cops and Skully and Manboy, But I'm over here like, okay, and ain't that what you're supposed to do as a friend? But anyway, Franklin tells Leon that he's going to keep doing what he's doing, and he's going to get Louie and Jerome straightened out so they can be a family again like always. But the way he said it, it was not friendly or nothing. It was very creepy, like, you going to do what the heck I tell you to do, or there's going to be some problems. Like, honestly, sometimes the way Franklin's demeanor is, it really makes me feel like he's going to do something unpredictable out of desperation and just trying to keep everybody in line, But anyway, Leon was just sitting there. So at this point, we don't know how he's taken this. And, it just seems like with Franklin, it's borderline dictatorship, because he tries to make it seem like he has everybody's back and he's going to take care of his people and we're family. But in the end, he just wants to control everyone, He's going to wind up making one of them kill him, like, because he's really a difficult person, okay? But for me, like, if I was trying to get away from somebody like Franklin and knowing the kind of person that he is, I would just make a move, without telling him. Because ain't nobody got time to be controlled, all right? Anyway, next, we get to Havana, where Alton is sleeping in bed and Sissy is on her way to the market. So Alton is alone now, and he's reading a book, which is ironically called The Spook Who Sat by the Door, which is about a former CIA agent who trains a bunch of black teenagers to become freedom fighters so they can overthrow the white establishment, right? So he's reading this book, and in comes Reed with a gun in his hand. And when Alton sees him, he definitely looks defeated because he's thinking that, he left everything behind him and finally has a chance at a new life. And I really couldn't understand why Reed decided to go after Alton if he left the country. Maybe he thinks that it's better that Alton dies because it's a risk keeping him alive. But whatever the reason, Reed has definitely tapped into the dark side, okay? At first, he seemed to have a moral code and, would try to resolve his matters without killing people. But now he's going off the deep end and he needs to be stopped, okay? And Alton should have just killed him when he had the chance. Like, what the heck was he doing all that talking for? Like, handle your business. You said you wanted to kill the guy. You should have just shot him. That's it. As soon as you got out the car, boom, and it would have been over, right? Now look at you. So, Reed got him right where he wants him. But we don't actually see Reed kill Alton, and we don't even hear a gunshot. So who knows at this point, guys? I guess we are going to have to wait till next season. I'd like to remain hopeful because y'all already know I don't want Alton to die. But I have been fearful of this pretty much, midway through the season, right? Anyway, we get to our last scene where Franklin goes all the way to Texas to tell Mel that Irene is dead. He also tells her that she needs to keep her mouth shut when it comes to his business. So, say what's on your mind now because you're not going to get any more chances. So Mel says, all right, admit that you killed my daddy and you'll never hear from me again. Just be man enough to admit that I'm not crazy. So Franklin just looks at Mel and says, goodbye, Mel. Then he turns to walk away, then stops midway and hangs his cane on a chair and walks away with no limp. And I was like, excuse me? What the heck is going on here, okay? How come he could just walk without a cane all of a sudden, with no limp, okay? Like, what was he pretending the whole time? I don't know, guys. It feels like to me, this season finale has got me really questioning stuff. Like, I just have questions, But y'all tell me what y'all thought of this episode. I don't even know what the heck to expect for next season, but I do believe we're going to definitely get some drama from Little Rock. All right. And maybe this new plug, like maybe the new replacement for Reed is going to be a super problem. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that's the video for today. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Until next time, you guys take care and be blessed. And I'll see you in the next video.